Hello and welcome to Clay to Canopy, the show where I attempt to make just about everything from the ground up. And welcome to week 15 of the Don't Wake the Dragon series. It is Sunday, it is almost noon, and I had hoped to have filmed some awesome footage of me opening a kiln with successful glass. Unfortunately, that was not the case. I did go to campus, I just got back. The glass didn't fuse. It reached temperature, and then the kiln aired out. I am working in a community space. Unfortunately, I do not have access to a kiln that is mine. I have been spending months, as y'all know, taking very cautious steps and also being considerate for the community that I am working in. And the firing right before it was my turn to have the kiln again, the kiln was damaged. So I have a huge setback right now. I did run a test on Thursday where I fired up the kiln up to the 1465 degrees, which is what the glass needs to go up to, and I skipped the annealing stage. So what I did was I let it go up to temperature and then I let it shut off. What I wanted to know is what would happen to my glass if it should fail mid-firing. I wanted to make sure that the glass itself was not going to get damaged, because the state that the kiln is in right now, it basically means that it can shut off at any moment and error out. That first firing, it went fine. It fired up, it hit the temperature, and then it shut itself off, and the glass actually was fine. There was no cracking. It wasn't as melty as it should be, but the glass itself wasn't damaged. So I thought it was safe enough to go ahead and try my firing, which is what I did on Friday. I loaded everything in. It did hit temperature, and there was a bit of melting, but unfortunately, the bits did not fuse together. So I turned the kiln back on, and I am now testing a secondary backup kiln. Originally, I did not want to go running a whole bunch of tests in all of the kilns available. That would be incredibly disrespectful for the community to monopolize that many kilns, and I was trying to do this in a very cautious way and really hone in on a program with one dedicated kiln, because each kiln will vary and there was just too many variables to try and sort out individually what each one was going to be. Because of this situation, I am now testing a secondary backup kiln. It is the only other kiln that could work for me based off of the size of the glass. So if one of these two kilns don't work, I basically have to try and completely start over, going back to the drawing board to try and figure out a backup plan. Acrylic was always the backup plan, not necessarily the plan I wanted. But where does that put me right now? Honestly, I'm at a standstill. I can't do anything until I at least have one set of glass that is fully successful. I cannot afford to take this glass elsewhere to have it fired in a proper glass kiln. It's just not in the budget. If it was in the budget, I wouldn't be working with broken bottles to begin with. So I don't want to move forward on the frame, because the frame may have to get altered depending on what the next step is. If I can't get glass and I'm dealing with acrylic or plexiglass, it's going to be a different situation, and that frame itself will not go the way that I had planned for it to go. Where I am right now is I'm going to go clean my house. I'm gonna go and do what I do as a kitchen cottage witch that I am. I am just gonna go clean my house. I'm gonna go reset. I'm gonna go maybe make a nice meal, just decompress, and we'll have to wait it out. Tomorrow I have some errands to do. I'm probably not gonna be out here because, again, I'm on hold. On Tuesday, I will be able to go back to the kilns and see if either the test went fine or the other glass fused fully. I do have someone on campus that is listening for a secondary error out. If that kiln errors out again, he will let me know, and I may head back to campus to see if there is a way to salvage it. If I make it on time, I may be able to turn it quickly back on and get it to at least hold to temp. I don't know, it's very frustrating right now. I'm incredibly frustrated with just everything. I don't know. I am hoping to be back on camera on Tuesday with better news. Alright, y'all, it is Tuesday. I have no idea what to expect. Looks like this kiln did what it was supposed to. This is the test kiln. This is the one I'm going to roll with first, because the other kiln is still at 143 degrees. This one should be safe to open, and we are going to hope that all went well. So far, so good. I created fail-safe, so I bricked around everything. This is what should be done when you're experimenting and you're not sure how the results are going to go. So I got it contained in a box and onto additional shelves so that if anything leaked. And then inside here, There's also another shelf, and you'll see that in a minute. Yeehaw! What do we got? So we have sticking, we have fusing, but the double sheet did not fuse, which means that for this kiln, the temps are not long enough. Oh boy. All right, so it works, but this is going to require much more testing to utilize this kiln because I did not get a fusing here. They hardly melted into each other. Option number one is to try and run a bunch more tests on this one, see what happens to try and get it to where that one is, or option number two is to reload the other one and I will have to sit with it. If it errors out again, basically be here to restart it. Oh, decisions. First of all, we don't even know what's going on in that one. I gotta make sure everything's right in that one in the first place. The pieces look like they're stuck on. Of course, I have not fully unloaded anything yet, so I am not sure. There's only one way to know is to basically unload this entire thing and see what I have. My stress level is through the roof right now. I went to pick one up and a piece fell off of it, so they did not fuse. The only thing that fused are the top two pieces. I'm now transferring from that kiln to this one, and I'm going to increase the firing temp and hope for the best because I don't know what else to do. I do not have time to retest this entire kiln over and over again the way I did for months testing the other kiln. I could cry right now. I'm so upset and frustrated. Alright, so this kiln, it did error out, but it errored out on the cool down because some of these are definitely fused. However, not all. I think it's looking like about half. Alright, I'm gonna unload this thing and get them all packaged up. All but the bottom didn't really hit temp because this one was the one on the bottom that fell off. I'm gonna go ahead and bump the shelves up, and the next round that I load, I will skip the bottom and then go ahead and start loading directly on the top. I also think I have less that needs to go in because I put an extra layer in, so I should be okay. There is some weirdness happening on the surface where some of it is super clear, some of it is a bit cloudy. I think I have a solution for that. So I'm gonna just be happy that this is a win, be happy that it's stuck enough that I can work with these. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna pack these up and then I am gonna also reload the kiln with the other half of the glass. All right, y'all, happy Thanksgiving. I am just getting back from campus with the batch of glass. Even though that kiln errored out, I am happy with what the results are. I can now move forward. I did reset the kiln and I have the second half of the glass in, so knock on wood that that glass goes okay. Hang on a second, I gotta shift these things. And then we will be ready to roll. Now that I have the headspace and think about what's going on with this window, I'm trying to figure out the best way to go about getting this glass inside these frames. Part of me wants to go ahead and put the rubber around the glass itself and see what that will get me. I've had some thoughts about siliconing the glass directly to the wood frame that's then gonna go into this frame. So what I'm thinking though is if I could get this around the glass, get the rubber siliconed on, and then attached directly to the wood frame, then I'd have more of a weather tight seal. I don't know, this is just a thought. So trying to work this out. I think this could work. What I'm hoping this will do is even out any of the funky parts where the glass didn't really sit right. Then the question becomes is, do I need weatherproofing around the frame if I have it on the glass? Perhaps not. I think this might work. Sure wish I had made one extra of like the smaller one so I could mess around with it before doing this. So what I'm thinking is this will go in here. I'm gonna have to open up this frame a bit so that this sits a little more flush. Then glue and attach this piece to the frame that sits around it and goes over it so that this will just be kind of a pop-in, an easy pop-in. Easy pop-in. Also think this will help protect the glass some by having the rubber on the glass itself rather than the frame. Only thing is that now means I gotta clean up the frame. Alright, I'm also feeling like today I need to do some wood cutting, some sawing, something. I need to smell sawdust because this has just been way too much agony over these glass panels. I'm at a point where I feel confident enough to set these aside momentarily. I am gonna tackle cutting out some parts for the dragon head because I just need a win. I mean, this was a win, but I need to be in a different headspace than this glass right now. Let's sort through the parts and pick out the larger versus smaller because I have some really tiny scraps that I think I can cut pieces out of. And then I am probably going to throw on my safety glasses, which really means I'm throwing on an audio book. I'm gonna just put my head down, do some cutting, get back in the groove of the studio. Do need to remember, and I'm saying this out loud so that I will remember, I need to cut 2 of everything. This is a symmetrical thing. I have them written out where it's one and then the opposite side, which means there's 2 parts for each one. So I have like this side is G, but when I flip it over, the opposite side becomes D. Say these things out loud so that I remember them. Alright y'all, it is Friday, November 26th, and yesterday I finished cutting as many of, is it Friday? Yes. As many of the template pieces as I could get out of the scraps and this one extra piece. Now I had to go back this morning into the old videos to figure out how many sheet goods I had gone through for the body because I couldn't remember. It looks like the 2 sheets behind me will add up to 6 total sheets, so depending on whatever I use in those sheets and what I have left to cut, I'm going to just leave it at the 6 as far as the calculations go. I did have a pile of the scraps that I was waiting to weigh out so that I could deduct weight if need be. It's better to err on the side of caution, and right now I think I'm at about 350 pounds in weight. The plywood for the head, the base plywood that went down, and the 2x4 pressure treated pieces that are underneath it. And that's an overestimate, so I'm okay with that. I probably will weigh the glass just to get an idea of what the glass ends up being, because that's kind of like the mystery. I allocated about 200 pounds for the glass just in case, but it's probably going to be under that. This only matters because I want to make sure that I have enough weight in the build to add on my furniture pieces and all of that, because that's going to end up being the thing that gets cut. I have to account for at least 2 bodies being in there, human body weight, so I want to keep the total build around 1,000 pounds with all of the furniture and everything, because it's got a 1,750 pound capacity. This way, if I've calculated something wrong, there's room for play and it fit the weight of the trailer. I am going to continue cutting for the day. It's basically the same process, smacking my templates on, tracing them out, and cutting on the bandsaw. But I'm going to call this video here. I don't have the results for the glass. That won't happen until tomorrow morning. I will include that in next week's vlog. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already. Stick around to watch this project unfold, and remember, don't wake the dragon.